Friends, brothers, sisters, warriors in faith, today I want to set your heart ablaze with a truth that has transformed my life, countless ministries, and can ignite yours too. Jesus is sufficient for your ministries. Can I get an amen? Pause. Smile. I know you feel that fire stirring already. Let's dive into this truth, because when you grab hold of it, your life, your calling, your mission, it's going to soar to heights you never dreamed possible. Picture this. You're standing at the edge of a cliff. The wind is howling, your heart's pounding, and below you is the vast unknown of your ministry. Maybe you're a pastor preaching to a small congregation, wondering if your words are even making a dent. Maybe you're a worship leader, pouring your soul into every note, but the seats are half empty. Or maybe you're out there feeding the homeless, teaching kids, or sharing the gospel online, and you're asking, God, am I enough? Are my efforts enough? I've been there. I've stood on that cliff, staring into the abyss of doubt, feeling the weight of my own inadequacy. But let me tell you something. Jesus doesn't call you to be enough. He calls you to trust that He is enough. He is sufficient. Let's go back to the Bible, to the book of John, chapter 15, verse 5. Jesus says, I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. Did you catch that? Apart from me, you can do nothing. But when you're connected to the vine, when you're rooted in Jesus, oh, my friends, you will bear fruit that shakes the heavens. Your ministry isn't about your strength, your charisma, or your resources. It's about His sufficiency flowing through you like living water. I remember a time when I was leading a small outreach program. We had no budget, no fancy equipment, just a handful of volunteers with hearts on fire for Jesus. I felt like Moses, staring at the Red Sea, thinking, Lord, how are we going to do this? But then I heard His whisper, My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. That's when I realized God doesn't need my perfection. He needs my surrender. And when I surrendered, miracles happened. People showed up, resources appeared, lives were changed, not because of me, but because Jesus was sufficient. Let me ask you something personal. Have you ever felt like giving up? Like your ministry is too small, too insignificant, or too hard? Pause, softer tone. I see you. I know the tears you've cried in the quiet moments, the nights you've prayed, God, why is this so hard? But hear me, your ministry isn't small in God's eyes. That one soul you reached, that one life you touched, it's a ripple that will echo into eternity. Jesus doesn't measure success by numbers or views or applause. He measures it by faithfulness, and when you're faithful, He is sufficient to multiply your efforts beyond your wildest dreams. Let's talk about Peter for a second. A fisherman, rough around the edges, probably smelled like fish half the time. Chuckle. Not exactly the guy you'd pick to lead a world-changing movement, right? But Jesus saw something in Peter that Peter didn't see in himself. In Matthew 16:18, Jesus says, On this rock I will build my church, and the gates of Hades will not overcome it. Peter didn't have a theology degree or a megachurch budget. He had Jesus, and that was enough. That one man, leaning on the sufficiency of Christ, sparked a movement that's still shaking the world today. If Jesus was sufficient for Peter, He's sufficient for you. Now I want you to imagine something with me. Close your eyes for a second. Okay, don't actually close them. You're watching this video. Laugh. But picture your ministry, whether it's preaching, singing, serving, or just loving the people around you. Now imagine Jesus standing right beside you, His hand on your shoulder saying, I've got this. My strength is yours. My love is yours. My power is yours. Feel that? That's the truth you need to carry into every sermon, every song, every act of service. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to trust that Jesus is enough. Let's get practical for a moment. How do you tap into His sufficiency? First, stay connected to the vine. Spend time in prayer, in the Word, in worship. You can't pour out what you haven't poured in. Second, surrender your fears. Those doubts whispering that you're not enough, hand them over to Jesus. He's bigger than your insecurities. Third, step out in faith. God doesn't call the equipped, He equips the called. Take that next step, even if it feels impossible. Jesus will meet you there. I want to share one more story. A friend of mine started a tiny Bible study in her living room. Just her, a few friends, and a whole lot of coffee. She felt unqualified, unprepared, and honestly, a little scared. But she trusted Jesus was sufficient. That Bible study grew into a ministry that now reaches thousands online. People are finding hope, healing, and salvation because one woman believed Jesus was enough. That's the power of His sufficiency. It takes your small, trembling steps and turns them into a tidal wave of impact. So, my friends, wherever you are in your ministry, whether you're just starting out or you've been in the trenches for years, hear this: Jesus is sufficient. He's sufficient for your doubts, your fears, your lack, your dreams. He's sufficient for the big moments and the small ones. He's sufficient when the pews are empty and when they're overflowing. He's sufficient when you feel strong and when you feel broken. He is enough. Emotional pause, voice softens. Maybe you're watching this and you're not sure where you fit in God's plan. Maybe you don't even have a ministry yet. Can I tell you something? You are enough because Jesus says you are. Your life, your story, your love, it's all part of His plan. Start where you are. Love the person in front of you. Share the hope you found. Jesus will take it from there. So let's do this. Let's step into our ministries with bold faith, knowing that Jesus is sufficient. Let's set the world on fire for His glory. And if this message stirred your heart, I want you to do 3 things. Hit that subscribe button, share this video with someone who needs to hear it, and check out the links in the description for more resources to fuel your ministry. Together, let's show the world that Jesus is enough. God bless you, and let's keep the fire burning.